Why are the Northern Ireland conflicts and IRA members called the Troubles? The conflict in Northern Ireland during the early 20th century was typically known as the Troubles. The term is a euphemism for the violent political conflict. It was a truly challenging time for the British government. Foreign correspondents who reported from Belfast in the 1960s and 1970s often said the situation felt far worse than just troubles, but it was in fact a war zone. Unfortunately, the British government did not seem to grasp the seriousness of the situation until things started spiraling out of control. Here's an interesting story from that time. Brian Faulkner, who served as Northern Ireland's last Prime Minister from March 1971 to March 1972, took a drastic step to try to deal with the Troubles. He imprisoned people without trial. Obviously, this decision caused enormous consequences. On top of that, the military intelligence wasn't up to scratch. The files from the Royal Ulster Constabulary Special Branch were outdated, which meant they were arresting the wrong people while missing the main suspects entirely. British journalist Peter Taylor interviewed a young officer called Jonathan, who shared some insight into the chaos of those days. We were briefed to go to a whole series of houses and arrest known IRA men. And I have to say that many of the people we arrested were known, but had not been active since about 1922. I remember arresting one elderly gentleman who was well into his 80s who was rather proud to be arrested. He said, "I'm delighted to think that I'm still a trouble to the British government, but I have to tell you I've not been active since the Easter Rising." He had to be taken in, but no doubt he was released shortly afterwards. I think that a lot of these names had remained on files for decades and had never been removed. Once a Republican, always a Republican. The intelligence was very, very poor because the army hadn't built up its own store of intelligence by then, and we acted on the information we were given. You can imagine how much money Britain has been pouring into Northern Ireland's security needs.